I saw John, he had his Marine hat and Marine jacket on. And he's told many stories about the Marines. You may have heard terms such as a lawyer's lawyer, referring to an actor's actor or a doctor's doctor. General term is an expression that denotes someone so accomplished in their profession that other professionals look to them as the gold standard of performance. They are considered the best in their fields, and a quintessential example. Use me as an example of a quintessential person. Of the best there is to offer. With that general definition, what would you consider a Marine's Marine? Today, John Davis will describe someone he believes fits that category. Will tell us why. He discusses the personal characteristics that demonstrate among an esteemed group why the individual deserves special praise. Here's John with Joseph-John, a Marine, Joseph-John, a Marine's Marine. It's a mouthful.
Thank you, Dwayne. I went to a table topics contest several years ago, and the topic just seemed so unique and brought images to my mind. The topic was, I used to believe. The answer that the person gave that really stuck with me was, I used to believe that I had to do great things in life to make an impact. Now, I believe that doing the little things is more important. I truly believe that. And this response reminded me of a person who was a role model to me, someone who had a big impact on my life, someone who I considered a Marine's Marine. And this person, of course, was Joe T. Jan, or Joseph Jan, or as we call him, Gunny Jan. Gunny Jan was a Marine's Marine because he was a typical Marine. Ordinary, nondescript, if at first glance, but Joe Jan was what all Marines aspire to be. Now you may think that a Marine's Marine might be that John Wayne image, and I know you've seen the John Wayne movies. He gets into bar fights, he always proves how tough he is. He's the type of person, he's had a hard life, he's hard drinking, hard living, hard loving. John Wayne is the type of Marine that we hope don't exist. Because it goes against the traditions of being a real Marine. The last thing you do as a Marine is fight. You never fight. Fighting is a serious business. Our job is to keep the peace. You don't abuse your body. You take care of yourself because you have to do your job. And you take care of your fellow Marines. The Marine's job is, number one, to take care of your comrades, to do your mission, and to serve the Corps and your country with honor. Those are the three things that you do as a Marine. That is your total job. It's not to show off, it's not to brag, it's not to put pain on people, it's to be someone who takes care of others, accomplishes the mission, and works for your country and the Corps. So if Joe Jan was so nondescript, what made him a Marine's Marine? We'll start with the number one characteristic of Joe Jan that stands him apart, in that he was always respectful of everyone. I can tell you've been in the Marine Corps, you have groups, you have cliques, you have crowds, you have people that want to belong. And how do you belong? You get with these guys, and you talk about those guys. You're always talking about how you're better than them and how they're not as good. And Joe Jan was a person who treated all others with respect, no matter, officer, enlisted, in the Corps, out of the Corps, other services. He treated everyone with respect. The one incident that stands out in my mind best for Joe Jan, having respect for all, is because when I was in the Marine Corps, I was in electronics, he was in electronics. In the Marine Corps electronics, we had several radar systems. Some were the big search radars. You see planes 100 miles away. Oh, there's a plane, somebody go intercept. And we had an air support radar system, which was a little rinky-dink thing. We'd lock on the aircraft, we'd drop bombs. But it was different from the big search radars. They were all computers with, back in those days, actual chips or ICs. Our computer, our system, had tubes, electron tubes. I mean, it ran on vacuum tubes. I'm not saying it was antiquated, but it was the only analog radar system in the Marine Corps. So all the people that worked on these other systems would always say, they work on it over there, but they couldn't fix it. None of them could repair it because it was so different, it was analog. Joe-Jan came in because he was a technician and he was authorized to work on all the systems, came into the shop, said, look, I don't really know how this works, but if you guys need anything, just let me know. He showed respect for the people working on that system. The second thing, Joe-Jan walked with dignity. He just walked like a man with pride. It was just the way he carried himself. And this is what a Marine is supposed to do. When he walked into a room, he was, again, respectful, but he was also authoritative. He was a person that if you had a question, you would look to him for answers. He just gave off that aura. Joe-Jan was a person who stood out simply by being normal. The third thing, as I said, in the Marine Corps, you had these big search radars, you had our little rinky-dink radars, you had all types of radars. And when he came to our unit, most of the people that worked with the big radars, they had a lot of money, they had a lot of troops. It was an easy job. We didn't have a lot of money, a lot of troops. We had a few people who worked on a system that was hard to maintain. They didn't want to come to us. Joe-Jan didn't mind. That's where he was assigned, that's where he came, and he worked hard. He did his best because that's what they told him to do. This was his assignment, and he treated it like it was the most important job in the world. He treated all jobs like that. Number 4, he worked toward his dream. He didn't even want to be in electronics. He wanted to be a first sergeant and lead troops. He didn't bother anybody with it. He didn't moan and groan and complain about where he was. He simply did his job, but when he got the opportunity, he worked, and he became a first sergeant, which is a non-technical position where you got to actually lead troops in a squadron. And finally, he wanted to be in recon. Anybody know what recon is? Let's say it's a Marine Corps equivalent of
Scouting.
Advanced.
the C. No, the
Advanced.
SEALs, Navy SEALs. I'm sorry. Recon in Marine Corps is the same as Navy SEALs. Tough. He was an old first sergeant, and when he came to the recon unit, of course, here's this old man, he can't even keep up with this. It killed him, but he kept up with them, and he earned their respect. He showed that anybody can do it if you wanted to do it, if you had the desire. And he showed that he was capable and willing, and he did it. With those 5 different characteristics, he stood out as Marine's Marine because he not only accomplished his mission, he took care of his people, and he served the Corps and his country with dignity. So if you want to be an accountant's accountant, if you want to be a graduate student among graduate students, if you want to be a civil engineer among civil engineers, do the little things like Joe-Jan did, and that will make you the best in your profession.